Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the stage as we welcome Subhashini Vashisth.
It's perfectly normal to get a cultural shock when you see something different, something that's not accepted or familiar to you, such as my choice of dress today. Well, the voiceover did a fantastic job pronouncing my name. I've heard several versions of it. And sometimes even my daughter asked me, "Mom, are there any alternate pronunciation of your name?" My name is not pronounced Subhashini Vashisth or Subhashini. I was afraid that people would actually start calling me super shiny. Well, the fact that they are correct is not the issue. My name is pronounced Subhashini Vashisth. Want to give it a shot? No? Well, I'll take that. You can keep trying. That's what I did when I was growing up. It was like all the alphabets there. Before we get started, I'm going to ask you to do something. Please take a good look of the person sitting next to you, left and right. All right. Now, if you are sitting next to someone you don't care, this is the right time to get up and move. We have plenty of seats available, and life is simply too short, right? I work for Eastman Technology, and I was asked to talk about diversity. And I wonder why I got that topic. Maybe because I don't look like this dude? I'll take it. Well, guess what? I am going to talk to you about diversity, but not in that corporate kind of sense, you know. We need 19 different ethnicities on our corporate website. I want to share my story with you and change the way you think about diversity from the perspective of a person who was born and brought up in a different country and a very different culture. You know, in India, just by knowing the name and surname of a person, you can tell a lot about them, which part of India they're coming from, their religion, their caste. You can even form an image of how they look like. Isn't that insane? I know, but it kind of works great. So in India, our weather is hot. Our food is hot. Our women are hot. And our men, lucky. So my view of the Western world was, of course, what I saw in the movies. There'll be skyscrapers all around and superheroes flying everywhere. So in 2007, when I landed for the first time at the Dairyland of America, Green Bay, Wisconsin, I had a culture shock. I literally had a culture shock. I'm still getting over it. And you know what? When you move to a new country, there are 3 ways you can relate to the culture. You can either confront or complain, which is my favorite, or you can conform. So when you confront, obviously you believe that your own behaviors are the right behavior. When you complain, which I like to do, of course you're going to surround yourself into a social bubble of foreigners living in segregation within the society. And when you conform, that is when you are actually observing, learning, and trying to understand the differences and the way of living of other people while you are adapting your own. And of course, being new is always hard, whether it's being the new kid at the school, having a new job, or in my case, moving to a new country. And when you are trying to relate to the subtleties and learning the culture of the new place, it can be intimidating. And especially when you're trying to navigate your own identity and how the new culture meshes with your roots, it can actually be very confusing. At first, I was very discouraged. People were cold. Of course, it was awfully cold in Wisconsin. I learned the hard way that the new beginnings can also mean chances of new opportunities, and I accepted that challenge. You know, the fear of not feeling at home can be a very powerful one and would resonate with those who really are not sure where home is. Where is home? Where do I come from? Is a significant question that plagues a lot of those who have traveled and lived in several places throughout their life. Well, another of my culture shock was calling elders, teachers, and superior by their first name, and which was totally unheard of in India. And I thought it was very disrespectful. You won't believe it took me a couple of years to get over the feeling and the fact that calling someone by their first name can actually mean friendliness and acceptance. And you know, I'm an engineer, and so I'm used to the standard units of things, such as kilograms and meters, and things were in pounds and ounces here, right? I know you all love to be different from the rest of the world, which is absolutely fine. What I did not understand was the abbreviated forms. For example, kilogram is kg. How does pounds make for lbs? Right? Look at the ounces. OZ? Very interesting. Well, 7 months out in Wisconsin, we decided to move again, and this time to another country, Canada. In Vancouver, I had a chance to meet people from around the world and closely observe their so different style of living. And that is where I realized that instead of positioning my culture over them, I need to blend in for a perfect harmony. It is like a culture fusion. You know, culture fusion is the total connection of several worlds in a way that is seamless. It is just like a hyphen that creates a perfect connection and yet a space between two distinct things, right? And you know, having those diverse relationships really matter a lot because they enrich your life. They make you more culturally aware. They make you more sensitive and more compassionate. Imagine a place where every face is exactly the same color, exactly the same race, where everyone thinks just like everyone else, and any thought and perspective outside is put on shelf. Is that really a place where anyone can be free? Free to be you? Free to be me? The thing of value is the thing that's different. And when it comes to certain things, we all think the same way. I'm sure you love to go eat out, right? Every now and then. Let's say you're driving down the road and you see this fancy little restaurant. I'm sure you don't say to yourself, man, I would love to go eat there. And I hope that the food tastes exactly the same like the other restaurant I ate, right? Who says that? Nobody. But think about it. It is the anticipation of that unique experience that drives and creates that sense of excitement. And same is true for diversity. Diverse relationships offer us a wider set of social experiences to draw from while we are forming our own opinion about others. And while we are all well-intentioned, we are always not as inclusive of other people, especially if they're not like us. I do believe that there is a better self hiding inside each of us who's capable of being more inclusive than we really are. So as a part of social experience, we all have different faces, and one of them is the curious tourist face, right? We go to new places, we meet new people, we love their local food and music and tradition. And if we even buy mementos to bring back home to remind us of the fantastic trip, but just as long as they all do not move to your neighborhood, right? That's true. And which gets me thinking, why don't we behave and why don't we approach people in the same way and with the same level of excitement? While we were all settled in Vancouver, one fine day in 2015, when I was offered a job at Eastman, we decided to move again. And this time, to Kingsport, Tennessee, in the middle of nowhere, as my friends say. A place known for grit and hospitality, where you can say anything about anybody as long as you start with, well, I don't mean to be ugly. And then throw a couple of, I'm just saying. And when you are done, you wrap it up with perfect 3 little words. And I wonder if anyone can guess what those words are? Bless your heart, you are my people. So at work, my colleagues asked, how are you settling in? Followed by, oh honey, bless your heart. And I thought those were the most comforting and loving words I had ever heard. And then I got to know that there can be 1,000 meanings of it and just as many possible responses. And I even found a book, Bless Your Heart 101, a few variants and their appropriate responses. Well, my Tennessee friends did not get my love for spicy food, and I did not get their taste for sweet tea and Dr. Pepper. But we all agreed upon one thing, that Lord of the Rings movies and Harry Potter is amazing. Living in so many different places, where do I come from? And it's such a simple question, but these days, simple questions find ever more complicated answers. Living in Vancouver, I realized that most of my friends I met were much more international and multicultural than I was. For them, their whole life would be spent putting together pieces from different places and culture into a masterpiece of their life. Home for them is a work in progress, and it's just like an ongoing project where you're constantly adding upgrades and improvements and corrections, just like your iPhone, right? So for more and more of us, home now is less than a piece of soil than a piece of soul. If someone suddenly asked me, where is your home? I literally would not be able to point to any physical construction. My home would have to be whatever I carried around inside me. My family, my friends, and the memories we made together. And home is not just a place where you happen to be born. It is a place where you become yourself, where you are invested in, where you are fully present. Home is where we all can be ourselves without judgment, without fear. So I have got 2 young daughters, 10 and 7-year-old. They are here today somewhere. And my kids are third culture kids. Now, what that means is they have roots in a different country, they were born in a different country, got a passport of a different country, and now growing up in a different country. For them, a question as simple as, "Where are you from?" is not as simple to answer. I remember one morning, I sent my younger daughter to school with an Indian staple dish called khichdi. Now, khichdi is a dish where you throw everything together, like your lentils and veggies and rice, cooked in a gravy with exotic spices, has a very distinct aroma, and kind of looks a little weird. So she came back home, and she begged not to send her to school with khichdi again. She said she'll take anything that her friends were eating, sandwiches, pasta, hot dog, but not khichdi. Well, of course, I asked what happened. And then she responded. She said, "When I opened my lunch, releasing all the new smells in the air, my friends did not respond favorably." "What is that?" "It's khichdi." "Ew, that smells funny." They refused to sit with her at the same table. That was one of the few times I noticed the distinction between what was unique to my family and what was common for everyone else. I ask you to engage us in conversation. Discover who we really are. We are the walking, melting pots of culture, and in that pot, if something smells new and different to you, don't turn up your nose. Ask us to share. Well, we all have lots of differences. I'm so glad we have lots of common viewpoints too. For example, we all love to complain, don't we? Yeah, I see several heads nodding there. Imagine we are going on an airplane, and 10,000 feet high up in the air, we all love to complain. The seat is not going back. It's so uncomfortable. I mean, come on. You are sitting up in the sky on a chair. What else do you need? So I'm going to leave you today with 3 principles which you can put to work right away. Number 1, the world is changing a lot, and it'll continue to do so. Diversity now is the new normal. So let's open our minds and have a tiny little thrill of discovery, even if it is as mundane and small as, the grocery store has cookies. Number 2, stop being judgmental. Different than does not mean less than. And number 3, do as your parents told you to do, follow the golden rule. Treat others as you would like to be treated. Be kind, be compassionate, and be respectful. So in the end, if you were to ask me, Subhashini, where is your home? Well, I don't mean to be ugly, but this is my home. I'm just saying. And y'all are my extended family. Bless your heart. Thank you. Thank you. A big thank you to all my family, friends, colleagues, and everyone for your attention. Thank you very much.